Meeting of the Princeton Planning Board, although it's the first electronic meeting of the Princeton Planning Board. It's Thursday, April 16th, 2020, and the opening statement is as follows. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given by prominently posting the 2020 resolution of the regularly scheduled meetings of the Planning Board of Princeton. A copy has been filed with the Clerk of Princeton on the 8th day of December 2019. Legal notice on the adoption of said resolution appeared in the December 2019 edition of the Princeton Packet. Notice of this meeting has been filed with the Clerk of Princeton on the 8th day of April and has been posted to the municipal website, which is www.princetonnewjersey.gov/meeting, and choose the Planning Board tab for view. Pursuant to Executive Order 107, due to the state of emergency in New Jersey regarding COVID-19 coronavirus, notice that during the declared state of emergency, all regular and special meetings of the Princeton Planning Board will be held electronically via Zoom. That such notice was transmitted to the Princeton Packet, Town Topics, and the Times, and was filed with the Clerk of Princeton on the 8th day of April 2020. Such notices have been placed on the official bulletin board at the Princeton Municipal Complex and on the Princeton website and are to be maintained throughout the year. And by transmitting a copy of the same to the Princeton Packet, Town Topics, the Times, Trentonian, Comcast Media, and by filing a copy thereof with the Clerk of Princeton. Notices have also been placed on all windowed doors of the municipal complex. Please note, during hearings, application on master plan, when the public will have opportunity to speak during the public portion. Tonight's meeting is administrative in nature and no applications are scheduled. All right, Carrie, could you call the roll, please?
Ms. Capizzoli?
Here.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Mr. McGowan? Mr. McGowan, you're muted. Okay, I will unmute you.
I'm
Mr.
unmuted.
McGowan?
I'm here.
Okay,
here.
thank you. Mr. O'Donnell?
Here.
Mr. Oakman?
Here.
Mr. Quinn?
Here.
Ms. Spala?
Here.
Mr. Texarney?
Here.
Mrs. Wilson?
Here.
Mrs. Gunning?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right. Let me ask, first of all, are there any announcements? No one has alerted me to this so far. Anybody? All right, well then let's move on to the other agenda items. You received two sets of minutes. One of the regular meeting of June 6, 2019, and the second one was the regular meeting of June 20th, 2019. Let's start with the June 6 ones. Does anyone have any emendations, corrections, additions, questions? Anyone? Well, hearing none, would someone like to move this?
I move the acceptance of the minutes for the 6th of June.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
All right, it's carried.
Aye.
Sorry, I abstain. I wasn't present.
All right. Thank you, Andrea. So let's move on to the regular meeting of June 20th. And those who were present for that were Julie Capizzoli, David Cohen, myself, Jeffrey Oakman, Tim Quinn, Mia Sachs, Zenon Texarney, and Louise Wilson. So if you were not on that list, you don't vote on this. Does anybody have any additions, corrections. If you have minor corrections, could you turn them into the office, ones that are not substantive? Anybody? Anything?
I just
I
like,
have, oh, go ahead, Julie.
I just like to say that I wasn't there for the whole meeting, so I have to abstain.
Thank you.
I do have a minor comment, but it's sort of substantive. At the bottom of page 2, the parking ratio for the 900 Harrington project is referred to as 1:1, 1:1, instead of 1.1 per unit. It's correctly referenced at the top of the paragraph and incorrectly at the bottom of the paragraph.
All right. Let's see. Jerry, do you have a comment on this? Jerry has.
No, I did not. I had actually gone over the previously with Eileen.
So that's a correction that will be made in the minutes. Is that right?
I hope. Yes.
All right, thank you.
I will move them as corrected.
All
Yes.
right, thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Right, carried. So that brings us to the resolution, which you should have all gotten a copy of. Let me just say something about this because I don't know when the opportunity is going to come up again. But as most of you know, Eileen Cucernio will be retiring the 1st of May, and she noted this when she sent out your packets. I think that we should at least acknowledge Eileen's long and faithful service to the office. It's been 25 years in my recollection that she has done this, and she has shaped Princeton planning in ways that I think that most of us would be astonished if we went back over the record. So before we move on to appointing the new secretary, I wonder if we could just have a round of applause for Eileen.
Unmute.
Take your mute off.
I will just comment that Eileen, you made the mistake of letting me have your cell phone number. It's the last from me.
And Eileen, I'm making up a map for David to use to find your home, so that'll work.
He's got a cell phone and he's tracking me, I'm sure.
And Eileen, can you change the order that we appear on the grid here? Because I want to be on the other side. Eileen was the very first municipal employee, I think, when I met when I was new on the planning board, the Board of Ed rep, and she was just so nice and patient with me, and her vast knowledge of anything to do with the municipal land use law, I'm sure has been invaluable to everyone. So thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well
Eileen.
said.
Yes, and as the newest member of the board, I just want to say that it's been very helpful to be able to look over to my left and say, what do I do? What do I do? Thank you, Eileen.
Usually I tell you the right thing to do.
Usually.
Yeah, I'd like to just share some thoughts from the staff perspective. First of all, personally, I want to thank Eileen for helping me get on board this past year and learn the system here, a system she helped build. So she should have tremendous pride in it. And I just think she's a very gifted and dedicated person. She's a planner in every respect of the word. She's known throughout New Jersey. I was very proud to come here and work with her, and I really want to thank her and wish her all the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, long before I was on the planning board and had met Eileen myself, I used to be involved with the Affordable Housing Professionals of New Jersey group, which included a lot of municipal employees around the state, and people would always talk about this woman Eileen in Princeton who knows everything, and we call. And I mean, it's.
Yeah.
It is really, we've had an amazing opportunity to work with us. So thanks.
Thank you. It really has been a pleasure working for Princeton, but I'm ready for my next move. Unfortunately, it's not going to be France as I had hoped, at least not just yet. But I want to thank, it was great. It's great working with everybody, and I really enjoyed my time.
All right.
You will be missed, Eileen.
Thank you.
Sorely, deeply missed. In a previous
Very
life, I was an officer with the League of Municipalities, and so I just echoing Jeffrey's comments from his perspective with in the housing world. The same was true at the League of Municipalities. Eileen's reputation was stellar, and now I know firsthand exactly why.
Thank you.
Well, no one certainly can replace Eileen, but so that we don't all fall into a deep depression, I'm happy to say that we have somebody who's also extremely dedicated to Princeton, has tremendous experience in this department and in this community. And we're just very fortunate to be able to appoint a secretary, which is some business before you this evening, that'll really help us transition in this period moving ahead.
All right, and that brings us to appointment of the planning board secretary, who the new planning board secretary is going to be Carrie Phillips. And you should have received this resolution in your packet of information for this meeting. Does anybody want to comment on this or discuss this in any way? Anyone? Well, if not, I should say that Carrie has been here almost as long as Eileen, so there's a lot of history involved in this transition. Would someone like to move Carrie's appointment?
I would like to move Carrie's appointment.
Is there-
Second.
Great. Now,
Thank you very much.
let me ask Jerry, do we need to vote on this? Jerry is muted again. probably.
Yes, yes, we do.
All right. So Carrie, may I ask you to call the roll on this,
On your own vote?
on your own?
Certainly. Ms. Capizoli,
Yes.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell,
Yes.
Mr. Oakman,
Yes.
Mr. Quinn,
Yes.
Ms. Sachs,
Yes.
Mr. Texarney,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Ms. Wilson? Oh. Thank you. And Mrs. Gunning.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your vote of, thank you all for your vote of confidence.
Well, I think you will be rewarded for this. So
Thank you.
Celebrate, I think you
Looking
should.
forward to working with you.
Yes, put on your camera so we can see you.
Okay.
right?
There we go.
Yes. Great. Well, that concludes the items on the agenda, unless we have anything else that we need to do. The next meeting, I think we will have an application, so it will not be quite so short as this, but
Do we know which application?
I think it's something coming back that,
Yeah, it's Nelson Glass. With respect to that partial demolition, and there's a condition that said if they're going to do any demolition, they have to come back and give testimony, explain why, and that's what they're doing. It's really not a development application per se. It's a hearing on satisfaction of a condition, and they're going to explain exactly what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, actually, I noticed that the other day when I was walking. It seemed like they took down pretty much the entire building.
Right. There were
So,
structural
so much for
problems.
that adaptive reuse.
Well, there were structural problems. You'll hear about
Right.
that at the next meeting.
and
Can I ask if I mean, do we know what is happening with the Landwin application during this online period? I mean, are they planning to continue or just take a hiatus?
Now, they're planning to, I talked to Tom Letizia just the other day about this, and certainly they're planning to continue. They understand the idea that when you have an application of that magnitude and controversy, that they're better off waiting until we get past the crisis and we can meet in person again. Because there's always the issue of, the public couldn't really access it right. They couldn't manipulate the platform, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been urging, at least for these really big ones and complex ones and controversial ones, that we hold off. Now, it may be that the crisis lasts so long that we have to completely revisit that. But Tom was comfortable with the idea of pushing things off. And I know he's granted an extension, Eileen, through the end of July?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. As well as all of the other applications that we had in the pike.
Right.
Don't
So,
move to France until after July, Eileen. I know you're going to want to tune in for the.
I thought that's why she was retiring.
Jeffrey hit it right on the head.
Actually, Eileen's looking for something in Princeton, so we're going to help her with that.
Excellent.
all right. So we have all of this to look forward to. In the meantime, David, would you like to?
I will perform my customary role.
That's great.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
I.
All right. And thank you.
Bye, Eileen.
Bye.
Bye. Good.
Bye.
Nice working
Eileen,
with you, Eileen.
Yeah, good luck.
we'll be in touch.
Yeah, good luck, Eileen.
Come back for Landwin,
Good Somerset.
at least for the closing statements.
Oh, no.
We're not recording anymore, right?
Yes,
Or
we are.
adjourned?
I'll stop it now.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank
It'll
you.
take